get started. I had a pretty busy weekend, and the knockout started the day after the last group stage game, so I didn't really have a lot of time to get this video made and uploaded for you guys. As of now, there is one day of knockout games remaining, so 2 games left. So I'll recap the group stage matches and the knockout results that have happened so far, and I hope that's alright with you guys. There's been plenty of action, plenty of upsets, plenty of good stories. Some of now have already come to a close due to the knockouts, but we will get into all of that in our recap, so let's get started. Of course, as always, we have our trusty notebook here, and we'll open to a fresh page and get this started. Oh, and I guess I forgot to mention we'll also be doing predictions for the remainder of the tournament. So we have our fresh page here. If you want to skip to the predictions, feel free. I'm sure some of you watching this have been keeping up with what's going on in the World Cup, so feel free to skip ahead a bit if you'd like, but if not, to sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. We'll start with Group A here. Topping Group A was the Netherlands with 7 points. Now, in case you forgot, just a quick recap here. There are 4 teams in each group. Each team plays each other 1 time. A win is 3 points. A draw is 1 point for each team, and a loss is 0 points. So the Netherlands with 7 points is 2 wins and 1 draw in their 3 games. No surprise here. The Netherlands, they were the favorites to top the group, and they did so. So no surprise there. Coming in second in the group was Senegal. The top 2 teams from each group advanced to the knockout stage. So Netherlands and Senegal did advance to the knockouts. Senegal had 6 points, and that was enough for second place, which again was not much of a surprise. Third place and eliminated from the tournament was Ecuador with 4 points. They made a pretty good run. They had a pretty good shot at second place over Senegal, but lost to them on the final match day, so therefore were eliminated. And that's a terrible cue, but in last place was Qatar, the host country. They had 0 points, the first host country to lose their opening match, and the first host country to lose all of their matches in the group stage. So again, we have the Netherlands and Senegal advancing. And then we have Ecuador and Qatar leaving the tournament, which again, none of this was much of a surprise. topping Group B was England with 7 points. No surprise there, they were the favorites to win the group, and they did. Coming in second was the USA with 5 points. A big win over Iran in the final match to secure their spot in the knockouts. Second place in this group was definitely a toss-up between the US, Iran, and Wales, and the US came out on top. Third was Iran with 3 points. And last place was Wales with 1 point. England and the USA move on, and Iran and Wales eliminated. Group C is next. Argentina topped the group with 6 points. Again, no surprise here, although there was a huge shock where Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia on the first match day. It was called one of the biggest World Cup upsets of all time. So that was pretty wild, and if you were an Argentina fan, I'm sure that was pretty scary for the first match day, but they did end up topping the group with 6 points. Advancing in second place is Poland with 4 points. In third is Mexico, also with 4 points. So when teams tie on points, the first tiebreaker is goal differential, and which is your goals scored minus your goals allowed, and Poland's goal differential was 0, while Mexico's was -1, so therefore Poland advances over Mexico. There was a point pretty late into the games, actually, where the tiebreaker was going to be decided on fair play points, which is basically yellow and red cards given to each team count as negative points, and that's the third tiebreaker after goal differential and goals scored. It still would have been Poland, but it kind of would have been a shame for Mexico to be eliminated on that. But it was Saudi Arabia, actually, the team in last place with 3 points, who scored a late goal versus Mexico to make their goal differential -1 instead of 0, and therefore eliminating Mexico. So Argentina and Poland are through, and Mexico and Saudi Arabia, despite their big win over Argentina, are eliminated. Group D is next. This is where we see our first big surprise. It is not France topping the group. That was expected. They topped the group with 6 points. The big surprise of this group is Australia, coming in second also with 6 points and advancing to the knockout stages. I don't think many people gave Australia much of a chance, but they won some big games. They beat Denmark and they advance. In third was Tunisia with 4 points, and another shock was Denmark in last place of the group with just 1 point. If you watched my other prediction videos, you will know that I had Denmark as a big sleeper team who I thought was going to make a big run, and I had them losing in the finals, actually. But they just couldn't get it going offensively, and they came in last in their group. Very reminiscent to me of Germany 4 years ago. They had high expectations and ended up coming in last in their group. It just goes to show you really never know what's going to happen in the World Cup. And these next groups will prove that even more. So we move on to Group E here with another shocker. Japan topping Group E, a group with Spain and the aforementioned Germany. So Japan advances in first with 6 points. Pretty surprising there. They're joined by Spain, who advances with 4 points. And Germany in third is knocked out in the groups for the second straight tournament. They also had 4 points, but Spain had a much better goal differential after beating Costa Rica 7-0 in their first game. And speaking of Costa Rica, they are in 4th place with 3 points. There was a point in time on the last match day where Japan and Costa Rica were both going through, which would have been very, very, very stunning. Spain and Germany, you know, you figure both of them are going to go through. If one doesn't make it, it's pretty crazy. But if both didn't make it, especially versus the likes of Costa Rica, that would have been pretty shocking scenes. But Spain did end up making it out of the groups with Japan in this one. And we move to Group F. Another big surprise here with Morocco. I apologize, there's one R in Morocco. Morocco topping the group with 7 points. A big win over Belgium for Morocco helped them top the group. And they're joined by Croatia with 5 points. And then the team to be eliminated, the powerhouse Belgium, maybe the last run for their so-called golden generation, as they are out of the tournament, as well as Canada, who scored their first ever men's World Cup goal in this tournament, but they were eliminated with 0 points, unfortunately. Last 2 groups here, we go to Group G. And finally back to some normalcy here. The leader of Group G was Brazil with 6 points. Followed closely by Switzerland, also with 6 points, but 1 behind on goal differential. This was a closer first and second than initially thought, because third place team Cameroon stunned Brazil in stoppage time to beat them on the final match day, so Brazil almost letting that first spot slip away from them. Cameroon with 4 points though was eliminated, as was 4th place Serbia with just 1 point. Things got very interesting for a decent amount of these groups on the last day of matches. And I think nothing will exemplify that more than the final group. was topped by Portugal with 6 points, which I suppose was no surprise. But in second place was South Korea with 4 points, who scored a stoppage time winner over Portugal in their last match to win that game and leapfrog over Uruguay on goals for. So Uruguay were playing Ghana, and I'll put them on the paper here. We had Uruguay with 4 points and Ghana with 3 points. Ghana's revenge versus Luis Suarez and Uruguay. So Uruguay beat Ghana 2-0 to go to 4 points, and South Korea had to beat Portugal, which they did in a 91st minute goal, and then they were tied on goal differential. So if Uruguay had won 3-0, they would have advanced, but they tied on goal differential, and then South Korea advanced on goals scored 4-2. It was a pretty intense, emotional situation if you were following it live. But Uruguay and Ghana eliminated. So those are your group. That's your group recap. I will now move on to the knockout stages. So I will go to the next page and draw the bracket and fill out the teams here. So we're on a new page now, and we will just draw a little bracket here. We're gonna have 8 teams on each side, the round of 16. So this is the top half of the bracket, and we'll move to the bottom half here. So, the first game is Netherlands, USA, the winner of Group A, versus second in Group B. And the winner of that would play the winner of Argentina, Australia. And then we have Japan, Croatia. Brazil, South Korea. England, Senegal. France versus Poland. Morocco versus Spain. And Portugal, Switzerland. So all of these matches have already taken place except for Morocco, Spain, and Portugal, Switzerland. So I'll just run through what has happened already. The Netherlands beat the United States 3-1. Unfortunate game for US fans, such as myself. A couple of bad mistakes, a couple of missed chances. It just makes it more frustrating that I think the US could have won that game. But the scoreline makes it look like they got blown out. So that was a bit disappointing. Disappointing end to the run for the US. Argentina, Australia. The Cinderella run of Australia ended by Lionel Messi and Argentina. They won that game 2-1. Argentina did, to set up a date with the Netherlands in the quarterfinals. Next, we have Japan, Croatia. This was won by Croatia in penalty kicks. If you've watched this, you know what I'm talking about. Japan, I mean, worst penalty kicks I've probably ever seen taken, especially on such a big stage. They were horrible. They never had a chance. They got killed in the penalty shootout, and Croatia advanced. And speaking of dominating, Brazil took down South Korea 4-1, scoring all 4 goals in the first half. It was 4-0 before halftime, and then I think they pumped the brakes a little bit. England, Senegal. England wins 3-0 versus Senegal. They advance to the quarterfinals. Then we have France, Poland. We have France advancing here, winning 3-1, only conceding a, I think, 99th minute goal, 99th minute penalty. So it was basically 3-0 in this game, but Poland eliminated, and now we have our predictions. Personally, I'm not as upset with missing my predictions for the prior games because every single favorite won. All the teams that were favored to advance, I think, did. So there wasn't really much, I don't know, wasn't much magic around it, I don't know, as the rest of the group stages did. A lot of Cinderella runs were ended pretty early here, which is a little disappointing. However, I am going to, just for fun, for the sake of it, since there are no Cinderella teams left, I'm going to take Morocco over Spain as a bit of an upset here. Morocco played very well in all their group stage matches. They're pretty good defensively. I would not be surprised to see them push Spain to the limit here. I also wouldn't be surprised if Spain came out and won 2-0. But we'll see. I have faith in Morocco. They're my new Cinderella team since no one else is really left. But yeah, I'll take Morocco here. And then Portugal, Switzerland. I actually think it'll be a pretty good game. But I'm going to take Portugal to move on here. Portugal, Spain would be a pretty good matchup in the quarterfinals as well. I wouldn't be too upset if that happened. Moving back to the top, we have Netherlands, Argentina. amazing in this tournament. I'm still going to take them to beat the Netherlands. I don't know, they lost to Saudi Arabia. They beat Australia only 2-1. They haven't looked as dominating as I kind of thought they would. But I think they find a way to beat the Netherlands in this one. And then we have Croatia, Brazil. I'm going to take Brazil here to set up a huge clash in the semifinals between them and Argentina. That would be a wild game, probably one of the most watched games in a very long time. England, France is next. France have actually looked very good. I'm going to take them to win here. I'm kind of surprised with all the injuries and whatnot that they've had. I was a little doubtful of them, but they have looked pretty dominant in every single game they've played. Yeah, I'm going to take France over England, who I still think are a bit shaky, especially at the back. I think Kylian Mbappe could be a real problem for England in this one. And then we have Morocco, Portugal, and you know what we're doing here. We're taking Morocco. We're ending Cristiano Ronaldo's final World Cup run right here. We're taking another upset here and making things a little bit interesting. Ronaldo just apparently agreed to a $200 million deal to a Saudi Arabian club, which is pretty interesting. I think a lot of his fans are pretty upset about that. I know I would be too. It's kind of lame. But anyway, we have Argentina, Brazil. And based on form in this tournament so far, I'm actually going to take Brazil here. My two prior prediction videos, I had Argentina winning the whole thing, but they don't really seem up to the task at this point. Brazil look like the better side, so I will take them. And then we have France, Morocco. And this is unfortunately where the Cinderella run comes to an end for Morocco. And I will take France to advance to the finals, looking to become repeat World Cup champions. And so we have Brazil versus France in our final. And I'm going to write down here, hopefully you can see, I'm going to take Brazil to win the World Cup. They just look like the best team, in my opinion. You know, they did lose to Cameroon, but they weren't starting their best 11 in that one. They were resting their players for the knockouts, so I don't put too much weight into that loss. Yeah, I think they've been the best team. They were favorites at the beginning, so really no surprise here with Brazil winning the whole thing. This is a pretty long video, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you all enjoyed my recap and new predictions. I hope you've been enjoying the World Cup. I know I have. It's been a pretty good one so far. Hopefully Morocco can continue to make things spicy, but we'll see. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and who you think will win the World Cup in the comments below. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.